Our first question is from a listener named Carlos, and he asks, is CrossFit dangerous? Is it safer for someone that doesn't have an athletic background or for someone who is coming from a different sport to do CrossFit?
Carlos, great question. I can't help but think the first thing that comes to my head is Baker Mayfield.
Why?
I woke up feeling dangerous.
Oh.
And if you woke up feeling dangerous and you go in the gym and you crush your wad, yeah, it's dangerous, but it's Baker Mayfield's definition
Yeah.
of dangerous. You know, there's this kind of cloud that hangs over CrossFit that it's dangerous and that it does cause a lot of injuries and things like that. And I will say, when CrossFit first started, it did. It was. It was a new methodology. A lot of coaches weren't trained. There wasn't a certification process. There wasn't continuing ed that was going on. You know, this whole thing started at a ranch in a backyard as a cookout.
Right.
That then grew into this amazing sport. And the reason it grew is because they saw the impact that it was having on people. So then it grew into this bigger thing. As they grow, as anything grows, where do you make the most mistakes? In the young phases. As it gets older, you have better systems, you have better approaches, you have more data, you can make more informed decisions. And that's what has happened with CrossFit. So now there's a certification process for coaches. There's continuing education that they have to do. A lot of people are not doing their own programming anymore. They're subscribing to these bigger ones like CompTrain and Mayhem and Invictus and all of these other ones that are out there that have a bigger data pool to see that, yeah, when we use this volume for this population, that these are the results that we get. So it's really come a long way. Initially, yes, there's a lot of injuries. Now, no. And I'm not just saying this from a biased point, because I love the sport of CrossFit, what it's done for me, what it's done for so many other people around the world, what it continues to do. We're just reading the updates to this upcoming season. And in 2024, they're having, you know, separate competitions for the masters and individual athletes. And the reason being is because I think it was more than half or 60% of people that participated in the Open were masters athletes.
Wow, yeah.
How incredible is that? Everyone talks about this obesity problem that the youth has. And yes, that it is a problem. How do we change that? We have to lead. And now we're seeing, wow, 60% of the participants, if that number is accurate, is 50 or 60%. But this large portion of the population is masters athletes. What a phenomenal example that they're setting for that next generation. So I'm excited to see that next generation and come up. But anyway, when we look at the research now, like the objective data that is out there, we see that CrossFit actually has less of an injury risk than running, than gymnastics, than powerlifting, than bodybuilding. People might say, well, there's a lot more runners than there are CrossFitters. Incredibly true. But what I found is a lot of runners are only running. They're not doing strength and plyometric training. They may not be changing their volume. They may not be changing their intensity. They're doing too much of the same thing for too long, and it leads them to more chronic tendinopathies. Where in CrossFit, the reason that injuries happen most of the time is because of egos. Or from, and it could still be in this category, from coaches progressing people too fast when they don't have the base down. But that happens anywhere, and that happens everywhere. I will also say that there's a complexity to CrossFit, and that complexity adds a little bit of fear. I'm not saying fear is a good thing, but sometimes fear can be a good limiting factor to a person going to try to do an Olympic lift when they can't do a front squat. Right? So people see people doing a clean and they're like, whoa, I don't think I'm there yet. Great. Let's work up. Let's start with our building blocks. Can you do a goblet squat? Once you get the goblet squat, can you do a power clean using a PVC pipe? Now can we do it with a training bar? Now can we do it with a barbell? Now can we start to add training plates onto that barbell? Now can we slowly add that up? Okay, you did the power clean, you've developed your front squat. Now let's put it together into a squat clean, right? So there is a methodology that coaches are taught to use, to go through, to further decrease the injury risk, which is again, lower than most other lifting sports and recreational sports that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it can even be further mitigated with appropriate coaching,
Mm-hmm.
which goes so far, and leaving the ego out of every day shouldn't be a PR day.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes where it's like you're feeling good and you're like, well, it's a PR day, but every day shouldn't be a PR day. You know, CrossFit is high intensity, but it shouldn't be high intensity every single session.
Mm-hmm.
You should go in with, what is my goal for this workout? My goal is to get pull-ups this workout. Beautiful. So let's decrease the lever and the intensity on this side of it so that you can achieve your goal for that day. So being intentional goes a long way. Being intentional decreases injury in most sports,
right,
but especially in a lifting sport and things like that. So yeah, people are afraid to walk into the gym. And I respect that, because you're not walking into a gym saying, I want a gym membership. You're walking into a gym saying, I want to change my life. Are you able to change my life? And that is hard. And that's hard to do. It's harder to do when you see 70-year-olds climbing ropes and 6-year-olds doing a snatch and 80-year-olds deadlifting twice their body weight. But it's also motivating because you see it and you're like, dang, that's what I want, but I don't want to lift next to her.
Yeah.
I want to do this, but I don't want to do it like they're doing it. And you get into it, you get the reps, you have a coach that's compassionate, that's working with the group, working with you to get you to that point. And the reward is there. And we were just talking about this the other day. It's the next step. Like, you achieve one thing, and the beauty of CrossFit is the next thing to achieve. And as you achieve that next thing, you have to maintain that other thing and not lose it. So wrapping that up, I don't think that it's as dangerous as it once was. I think when we look at the data, I should also mention that a lot of the data comes from the very competitive athletes that are training 5 to 6 hours a day.
Right.
So discussion could be there on workload and have they developed enough chronic workload versus the person that is first coming in, like, you know, I haven't worked out in 5 years and I'm coming 6 days a week to this CrossFit class. You're probably going to be sore.
Yeah.
And you're increasing your risk for injury. Not saying you're going to get injured, but you're increasing your risk for injury because you just spiked your workload significantly. And the data shows if you double your workload, there's a 20% chance, higher likelihood that you'll get injured. The more that you keep increasing it, the higher likelihood that you're going to get injured. So go into it, listen to your body, know that it is safe. Coaching has come such a long way, and they're continuing to pour efforts into the coaches to develop them further and further and further. At the end of the day, from your first week of that class, you'll know if you have good coaches or not.
I love it. And I think of the second part of the question in regards to, like, oh, is it safer for someone who does or doesn't have an athletic background? And I just think, like, everyone's an athlete and we really believe that. But when you're a kid playing on the playground or swinging, you're going to jump off that swing and take the risk, and you're probably going to tumble, and then you're going to keep running. Or there's, you know, the monkey bars, and you do the monkey bars, but then you're like, you know what, I want to hang upside down from the monkey bars, and you do that. And so we're all athletes as kids. And I think one of my favorite thing about CrossFit is you can come in with, like, I'm a kid attitude and, like, really truly have fun with it too. It doesn't have to be this crazy high intensity competition. It can be, and it will be, which I also think is fun. But there's a level of, like, you know, I don't think it's less safe or more safe depending on your quote unquote background, because I think we're all athletes. We all have that ability, and we all are just kids, and we all just want to have some fun.
Yeah, it's a big organized gym class that is fun because you can go to other gyms and use other methodologies, and there's the right thing for each person. So CrossFit's not right for everybody. It's right for us. It's right for me, because I don't like going to a gym where people have headphones on and you can't interact and talk with anyone. Like, I like doing the work. I enjoy that, but I also enjoy the interaction. So we work out here privately at our own place, but when we drop into a gym, the warm up and the cool down is so much fun. You just get to talk with people and interact and catch up. You're still going through, you're still working, but it's not this headphone random, like, how many sets you got left? Oh, okay. All right. and then someone's on the machine, so you like walk towards it, but then walk away, and you act like you like misplaced your water bottle. But the reality is like you didn't. You just like kind of weirded out, like, when can I go on that machine? Like when not, and it makes it hard to just talk with someone and be like, hey, mind if I work in with you?
Yeah.
Hey, what's your name? What do you do for work? Tell me about your life. I actually just want to do the sets and leave my headphones on, which again, it's fine. Like some people don't want that interaction. Like they want to be left alone. Let me do my workout. Don't talk to me. When I'm at a gym, that's not who I am.
For us, we want to have fun.
We want to have fun. We want to chat with people. And then I'll say, because I didn't answer or touch on that athletic background, is that CrossFit is a sport that is meant to surprise you and it's meant to humble you. And it will do both of those in the same workout in 10 minutes. I remember going to my first CrossFit class and getting through the workout, the warm up, and going, that was the whole workout, right? Like, there's not more to this, is there? Yeah. And I was coming with an athletic background, but it was a different way of moving my body. It was different proprioception. It was different, but it was similar in the sense of I was being challenged, and I had other people around me that were also being challenged, but stepping up and saying, okay, I can push myself past that.
Right.
So if you come in with an athletic background, more likelihood you're going to be humbled.
Yeah.
Very much. I was super humbled when I came into it. If you're not coming in with this quote unquote athletic background where maybe you weren't doing strength and conditioning, working out with coaches and things like that, you're going to be more on the surprise part than the humble part, because you're going to be amazed at what your body can do. And you're going to have the biggest growth. You're going to have more growth than the person coming in with that athletic background, because you're starting and I don't know how to do a deadlift. There's a learning curve. Your neural system, 2-3 weeks, you're lifting more weight. 4 to 6 weeks, your strength is actually increasing at that point. You went from not knowing how to deadlift, and now you're deadlifting your body weight or 95 pounds on the bar. Like, that is so, you're surprising yourself. And then, oh my gosh, I did a pull-up. I went upside down. I climbed a rope. Wow. Like, you surprise yourself more and more. So I almost get excited when it's like the person that's like, hey, I don't have much of a background. Oh, buckle up.
Let's go.
You're about to shock yourself every single day with what you are able to do once you're getting pushed to do that. But whether you have an athletic background, whether you don't have an athletic background, it's the data is showing that it's safe, and it's much safer than what it used to be. And if you're interested in trying, try it out.